Hello, boys and girls. Sorry, I was dared to do that by Sam. So today I'm going to be running you through the task sheet, looking at what you're going to need to do across this first week. So basically, a bit of background information. You guys are living through an experience that no one in living memory has lived through before. The last time we had anything like this was 100 years ago for the Spanish flu. So this is quite unique. And it's probably a good idea to capture this. You might want to share your thoughts on this with your kids and your grandkids in later life. So basically, the statement inquiry is, can I write a letter to my grandchildren? Which explains what the feeling, the mood, the day-to-day experiences are like living through a pandemic, because they may never live through one. All right, so you're going to need to talk about, well, you're going to need to think about your audience, which, as we've already covered, are your grandchildren, aged 8. You're going to write this to inform them around what's happening in our day-to-day life right at the moment. You're going to be crafting hooks to engage your audience, and you're going to be using descriptive writing to make your writing more vivid. Obviously, you're going to be creating area text. You're going to be using and evaluating information, stating where your info comes from, using images to support your writing. You're going to be doing lots of these literacy kind of capabilities. Your job is to write 3 journal entries of approximately 150 words each. So thereabouts for 150 words. Okay, remembering the intended audience of your 8-year-old grandchildren. So the purpose of your journal is to reflect and engage your audience using your hooks, your descriptive language, and the context you are writing in is different to the context that it will be read in. Your grandchildren will not know what the world is like at the moment. They're not going to know how it was impacted, or they may not know what COVID-19 is. Okay, you're going to need to explain some background around COVID-19. Imagine that your grandchildren are reading this in the year 2060. Don't worry about the technology difference or what their lives are like. Just imagine them as 8-year-olds from today, and you're going to need to explain how your life during this time has changed. Okay? You need to use a hook at the start, and you need to use descriptive writing throughout to engage your audiences. You're going to need to use images and respond to a news article as part of this. So journal entry number 1. What is life like at the moment? How has it changed? How do people seem to be feeling? How are you feeling and coping? What strange things have you done for entertainment? Remember, include images. So some strange things that I've done for entertainment, I guess, would be setting up empty toilet rolls and shooting them with Nerf guns. What else have I done that's interesting or different? I stuck a mini basketball ring to my wall at home, and I've been throwing it in there. Just different things. How has your life changed during basically lockdown? So that's journal entry number 1. Journal entry number 2. You're going to read about some strange things that other people have been doing to entertain themselves. You can see here in this image, people in lockdown, this is either Spain or Italy, I can't remember, I think, but they decided they were going to play tennis from one apartment to another up about 10 stories high. And they're hitting a tennis ball to each other. So write about interesting things you've done or heard about. Remember to include images. What countries seem to be most affected by lockdowns? Give reasons for your answer, okay? So it may not have affected us here in Australia the same way it's affected people overseas. For example, I know in Spain, kids, people under the age of 18 weren't allowed to leave home at all. If you were an adult, you were allowed to leave home for essential things, but kids were not allowed to leave home at all, and they're going to relax that so that kids can leave home for an hour a day, but they can't go to a playground and they can't go to many places. So obviously life here is different to other places. You're going to need to talk about other countries and talk about what's happening around the world. Journal entry number 3. There's been a big change in your schooling. How did you find learning from home? What differences did you notice? Have you celebrated any celebrations in strange ways? So people might have, obviously we've had Easter over the holidays. You might have celebrated birthdays differently. What other changes to regular routines did you notice? And compare it to this news article. Okay, so journal entry number 1 and number 2, you're going to need to respond to that journal article, to that news article. You're going to need to put in photos, videos, anything you've got, and compare your situation to the situation in New York. Okay, so to succeed in this, you're going to need to write engaging journal articles using your descriptive writing, which are appropriate for your audience, which are 8-year-olds, not year 8s, but 8-year-olds. Okay, they're aged 8. You're going to need to factor in the context of your reader. You're going to need to make them understand what COVID-19 is, what a pandemic is, and kind of use some of that vocabulary, but then break it down for your audience who is 8. Now, because I'm doing this in front of people, I can take any questions that people have right now. Any questions? All right. If you've got a question at home, put it up on Daymap for me and have fun.